Hey everyone, I left the frame for a few seconds prior to introducing myself so you could pause the video or backtrack it if you like. I'll put it at the end as well, in both cases, so that you might be able to figure out who the individual is with the yellow arrow pointing to him. This image was sent to me by an enthusiastic attendee to a California No Kings protest, and you can see who the other people are. You know, it's the disgraceful president, the even more disgraceful at times VP, and then you have Ketamine Ellen, and then Musk, and then you have the authoritarian leader of Israel at the moment, Netanyahu, and of course the very authoritarian Vladimir Putin. But that other person, to be honest, I don't know who it could be, who they're trying to represent. So it looks like the No Kings protest was very successful because apparently we had 2,600 plus events, and whereas in the June similar protest there were about 5 million, this time it's 7 million plus. This is good. This means people are engaged, and I can only say from my own channel that the number of comments was really quite high, in excess of 1,400, which when I looked at the statistics on my channel across 5.5 years of about 1,300, between 1,300 and 1,400 videos, this was the third most commented video, even though it's not the third most in terms of views. There are quite a few that are higher, but in terms of comments, it's spectacularly high. So thank you to all that commented, and including the people who said that for one reason or another couldn't go, but they were certainly engaged enough to comment, and they often mentioned maybe they were watching it on TV or checking out videos on YouTube. Anything counts. The whole point is to be engaged and to let the administration know that they're being watched, that they're being observed. This is hugely important. It also raises people's morale, spirit around the whole issue, which is very, very important. We also know that the Orange Menace wasn't happy. We know this because when he's rattled, he spends all day tweeting, truthing, whatever it is he does during the day, at night, whatever he was tweeting, retweeting, including the usual crass, coarse garbage, like the idea of pooping on people and all this kind of thing. It's par for the course. That's the way this guy is. We already know. But the main point is that it's quite certain that he didn't like it. I did see one clip of him complaining about being called a king and how he's not a king, blah, 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 to which you might reply, well, then why don't you stop posting images of yourself wearing crowns and, repeating the theme over and over? So basically, you can dish it up, but you can't take it, right? In other words, you can constantly troll people, and then when they call you out, then it's upsetting or you don't like it. Too bad, man. That's just the way it goes. So, again, thank you for commenting, and thank you on behalf of everyone of the country. If you went to the rallies, to the protests, I myself went to a local protest, which is in it's a suburb of Seattle. So where Seattle is million plus in the metropolitan area, and even more if you add the suburbs. In my particular area, it's only about 12 to 13,000 residents, and there were about 2,000 according to the police chief. The estimate was between 1 and 2,000, but closer to 2,000, which is quite a lot. Basically, lots and lots of people lined up on a shopping center near the street, long line with cars going by honking and making a lot of noise, and lots of those costumes with people wearing frogs, animal costumes, frogs, dinosaurs, etc. So bottom line, I think this was a very successful day for the defense of democracy. And quite honestly, I hope that this happens every couple of months. We need to keep the pressure up. We need to make ourselves heard. We need to stay together, and we need to move this energy into 2026 when there will be a very important election. And I believe this kind of activity, in a sense, prevents what they're trying to do, around manipulating, cheating, rigging, because they know that the pressure is there. And the way these fascists tend to work is when people basically give up, fall asleep, they don't check into things, and then they do things that are completely illegal, and they get their way. We have to stop them. That's the bottom line. And we know that his astrology, by his I mean the disgraceful president, the astrology in 2026 is very difficult because of Saturn. Saturn is the last planet. You want creating pressures on you, and it's there. And this is where, the notion that I've often mentioned, that charts, astrology, the whole thing is the interaction of a person's will with their cycles. And we, in a sense, are using our will to manifest the Saturn for him in at least one measure. I mean, there'll be other things, all kinds of things that'll happen reflecting the karmic payback of Saturn. But the fact that we are making this choice, it's our collective will expressing itself to basically bring them to account. And that's what we need to do for sure, regularly over the next months ahead of the 2026 midterms. Again, thank you to all for commenting, and I'll follow up with more videos very soon.